Thank you for joining me for this short yoga practice to celebrate Samhain, or Halloween. Samhain is said to be a sacred time where the veil between worlds becomes thin. It also represents the heart of autumn, halfway between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. This Samhain yoga practice will focus on creating comfort, safety, and grounding through supported postures which enable us to surrender the physical body, enabling stronger connection to spirit. It is our intention to open up the intuitive channels while still protecting ourselves from absorbing any harmful thoughts, emotions, or spiritual connections. If you have any bolsters, pillows, or blocks, please bring those along to your practice. Some complementary crystals for this practice could include Smokey quartz, black tourmaline, and Obsidian for grounding and protection. Rosemary, Lavender, or Clary sage oils will also boost mental clarity while keeping any unwanted energies out. When you're ready, let's begin. Welcome everyone to your Samhain celebration, restorative, nurturing, spiritual connection yoga practice. So during today's practice, I'm going to do my best not to talk too much. The intention is to connect spiritually, and sometimes that's hard to do when I'm chatting away in the background. So I'll guide you into the poses, I'll aid you with intention setting, but apart from that, I'm going to do my best to be quiet today. So we're going to start in a supported child's pose. If you have a pillow, bolster, bring that along with you. Bring your bolster or your pillows lengthways in between your thighs with your knees nice and wide. Now, if your bolster is relatively low, feel free to use blocks or additional pillows to support yourself. And we're just going to rest down. Relax either ear to the bolster. I'll tell you when we're halfway through and we can change sides. So just take a few moments to get comfortable, relax your arms, maybe alongside the bolster. Let your belly relax, make sure that you feel supported with your hips relaxing down to your heels. If your hips don't quite touch your heels, feel free to roll up a blanket and place it between your thigh and your shin bone. As best you can, you want to feel entirely, fully supported here with the props. And it's in this space that we connect to our breath. We notice the length, the depth of the breath, where within the body we feel the most expansion, whether that's the ribs, the chest, or into the belly. But we maintain smooth and deep breath. We notice also how we're feeling energetically in this moment. As we move into the heart of autumn, we may notice a sense of heaviness. For some, that can manifest as lethargy, or even to the stronger emotional spectrum of depression. And for some, it can manifest as a deep nurturing, a grounding, and a nourishing. So I just want you to notice how you feel. And then notice the thoughts that are circulating through your mind. Whether they're quite active, jumping from one thought to another, or whether there's a certain amount of length of space between the thoughts. And I want you to imagine within the center of your mind that there's a window looking out into the spiritual realm. You look out through this window from your third eye center. And for some of us, this window can be quite cloudy, dirty. It can be hard to see clearly the intuitive messages, the connection to our spirit. And so it's our intention today to clear up this window, to reopen those channels, those pathways to our spiritual connection, to find clarity of thought, clarity of mind, while still protecting ourselves, supporting ourselves and nourishing ourselves. For those of you that are quite deep empaths, you may notice that you're more susceptible to picking up energies of those around you. And that's why this practice is so important for maintaining our own stability and balance. For when we open up the spiritual connection, the pathways, we leave ourselves slightly vulnerable to their effects. If you had your ear to the bolster, please just switch sides. And as we rest here for another minute or so, just remind yourself that this practice is about clarity, to open up those channels. And so thoughts will come and go, the window will get foggy. But every time you catch yourself getting carried away by these thoughts, by these stories, just gently bring yourself back. Open your eyes and look out, waiting to hear the message from the Spirit, from the Divine, from the universe. And then just allow yourself to receive that message. Take your last few deep breaths here. Then moving mindfully, moving slowly. Gently just prop yourself up onto all fours. Just release your bolster off to one side. Bring your blocks or block directly in front of you. From here it might feel nice to take a little bit of side to side motion, some cats and cows. Maybe closing off your eyes, allowing yourself to move more intuitively. And then when you're ready, come to lay down on your belly, have your block nearby. And we're going to come into a variation of bow pose. So we're going to start off in a Sphinx pose, forearms parallel. Just notice how you feel here through your spine. And then from here, we're going to bring the left arm, slide it underneath or behind your right arm. You can have your elbow underneath your shoulder, and then bring your right arm to the same position but facing the opposite way with your palms up. Now for many of us, keeping those elbows kind of stacked will be enough. You can have a block handy and continue to walk your hands slightly wider, your arms slightly wider, and then release your forehead down to a block. Take your last few breaths here. Then very mindfully, carefully, we gently walk the right elbow back towards center, the left elbow back towards center. And then from here, you may just want to take a quick little cactus position through the arms just to release. You can release your ear to the floor. And just notice how you feel through the backs of the arms. And then we'll do that on the other side. So come back to a Sphinx pose. You may want to bring your elbows a little bit forwards. And then bring your right arm underneath or sort of behind your left. Right palm faces up. And then we do the same with the left. You can keep your elbows more central. Or again, have your block ready. Walk your hands, your arms a little bit wider. And then when you're ready, release the block, release the forehead to the block. Last few breaths here. And then gently lift your forehead. Walk your left elbow back to center, push through that left forearm. Bring your right forearm back to center. Just release your block. And then cactus the arms again if that feels good, and then bring the opposite ear to the floor. Remember, we're embracing that nourishing, that sense of safety here, that protection from absorbing any of the unwanted energy, while still remaining open, keeping those spiritual channels open. And then when you're ready, bring your hands under your shoulders, lift up to a tabletop, and then we're going to walk ourselves back to a ragdoll. So you can do this from a down dog. Bring your feet nice and wide, so wider than hips width. And begin to walk your hands back with a bend through the knees. Take your hands to your elbows. Alternatively today, you may want to interlace your fingers at the back of your head, using the arms to help create some space through the neck. Last couple of breaths here. And bring your hands to the floor, bend your knees enough that you can begin to sink low into a garland pose. So you may want to turn your toes out a little bit. You can use a bolster or a couple of blocks and just rest your hips down. Rest them onto the prop. You can keep your fingertips to the earth for a bit of additional support or grounding. or bring your hands together at the center of your heart. You can even dip your forehead down, just a touch to bring your forehead to touch your fingertips. Finish your exhalation. And when you're ready, bring your hands forwards. Just use the hands to support you as you rest your pelvis down to the floor. And bring your feet into a diamond shape. So it's not quite a Baddha Konasana. We're not trying to bring the heels in towards the pelvis, but actually create more like a 90 degrees through the knees. Have your props handy. So my favorite variation of this is to just bring your bolster to the insides of your heels and then rest your forehead down. You can just relax your arms to your ankles or towards your knees if that feels good. If you don't have bolsters, then it may be a little bit more kind of adjustments here. You may want to bring your blocks to the inside of your knees and relax your forearms down and then just soften your head down. Or you may just want to do this without the props, gently letting the spine round. But make sure you feel supported. Last couple of breaths. And as you inhale, use the hands to support you. Gently roll out. And it might feel nice to just bring your hands behind your hips. Just lift your chest slightly. Then use your hands to guide your knees through center. We're going to come into a supported bound angle now. So this can always be done flat on the back without the props. Otherwise, you're going to place one block on the medium setting and then the second block on the highest setting. This may take a little bit of moving around depending on the length of your bolster. So for mine, I think actually maybe the lowest setting is good. But just make sure that it feels stable. From here, bring your hands behind your hips with your knees bent and just bring your hands to gently support your bolster. Make sure that it feels stable. If you find that your neck is extending too far, you may want an additional pillow underneath your head to help bring your chin to your chest. Now, if your legs are comfortable, you can bend them again and bring the soles of the feet together. If you would prefer, you can keep them long. Once you feel stable, release your arms alongside your body with the palms of the hands facing open. If this position is comfortable for you and you want to stay here for your final rest and closing, please feel free. If you'd rather move into a traditional Shavasana or even a seated meditation, then just start to take a few longer breaths. And when you're ready, use the hands gently. Bring your chin towards your collarbone, lift yourself up. Move your props off to the side. Keep your bolster handy though. And then if you're coming to a seat, you're welcome to come to a seat. Otherwise, bring your knees wide and then option to place the bolster under the backs of the knees. As you come to lay down flat on your back, relax your arms alongside your body with the palms of the hands open. And it's in this space that we reflect once again. How do we feel energetically? Has there been a shift since our very first observation as we arrived onto our mat? What's the quality of the thoughts? Are the thoughts fewer and further between? You can almost think of those as the leaves on the trees. In the spring and the summer, we are blooming, blossoming. There's plenty of leaves, plenty of activity, plenty of energy. And as the season of the energy wanes, the leaves begin to drop. You begin to find this emptiness, this stillness. And for some, this can create great mourning of loss, of feeling the resistance of the change, the transition. But the beauty of this is that with the loss of the leaves, it creates space. Space and clarity to see beyond, to see through the leaves. And in this space, the channels of spirituality can open. We can forge connections not only to loved ones, but we can also forge connections to our highest selves, into spirit, to divine, or to the universe, whatever you want to name it. And so next time you feel this innate stillness, see this as a blessing, this space, a chance to look through the window. But reminding yourself that we stay strong and the roots of our trees remain grounded. If you'd like to stay here for a full meditation, please feel free. I strongly recommend after this practice, grab yourself a nice herbal tea, maybe lavender, maybe peppermint, and maybe take this time for a bit of reflective journaling. What is it that you would like to seek from Spirit? How is it that you can let go of some expectations of the previous season and fully embody the nourishment and the grounding of Samhain, of the heart of autumn? However you are spending your Samhain, I wish you a wonderful transition through the rest of the autumn season. Thank you all so much for joining me. Namaste.